welcome to Dee's Wellness Wednesday. As some of you know, I started doing this live Facebook about a month ago, but just kind of found a rhythm now where Wednesdays work really well for me. And I'm thinking that Dee's Wellness Wednesday is kind of catchy. So that's what I'm calling it. So it's Wednesday and it's my Wellness Wednesday where I give you tips. And my goal for this session is to provide you with information that will help to support you on your wellness journey. Today we are talking about cravings. Whether you're struggling with it or know someone who's struggling with cravings, it's a big thing that causes a lot of weight gain and a lot of issues for a lot of people, especially now that many of us are working from home or not working at all. It's that there's more reason for us to be in the refrigerator or the pantry looking for stuff, not because we're hungry, but we're just struggling with these cravings for whatever reason. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, some of the underlying reasons for cravings. And so what can you do, especially now that there's so much going on? We already had a lot on our plates, and you add this particular situation to it, and it just magnifies the whole thing, right? One of the big hot things I've been hearing about is quarantine 15. And I know that cravings could be one of the factors that's causing, some of the quarantine 15, because we're really not hungry. We're just craving. Anyway, I am Dion. Some of you already know that. Wellness and nutrition coach, an essential oils expert, and founder and owner of Dion's Wellness Wagon. And I support menopausal women who are struggling with weight gain, lack of energy, and of course cravings, because they all go together. And I know a lot about this topic because I've helped a lot of women eliminate or reduce significantly the amount of cravings that they've had, and for them to be able to reclaim their bodies so that they can feel like themselves again. So one of the major misconceptions that I hear a lot with regards to cravings is that it's normal, particularly for menopausal women. And even before that, it's normal. Cravings is normal. And to a certain degree it is. And I'll talk about that in a little while. But if it becomes a problem, then it's no longer normal, right? And also I hear, so that now that I'm menopausal, it's fine for me to crave, and I am going to gain weight. That's kind of what happens when you get to a certain age. If you allow it, yes, that's what will happen, but it doesn't have to be. So really part of what I want to be able to convey to you today is that it doesn't have to be that way. There are solutions if you're interested, if wellness and getting on the right track is your goal. There are ways in which you can, things that you can do to end craving or at least reduce them significantly. And when we talk a little bit about it, a little bit more, you'll understand a little bit better in terms of what I mean by reducing significantly or eliminating altogether, or whether or not it's a normal part of our lives, right? So if you thought that, you had to do some extreme dieting, a crash diet, or deprive yourself of food to end cravings, if you thought that, or if you're thinking that, just type 1 below or give me a signal in the comments below and let me know what you are thinking with regards to cravings. And so let's get into it. So cravings for certain foods, it's nothing unusual nowadays, and even before that. Everyone, every now and again, has a cravings for something salt, something sweet, which isn't always something bad, right? Unless the cravings become a part of your everyday life and it could have a negative impact on your health and your well-being. Then we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem with cravings if it's something that you're unable to control, particularly if you're doing it and you're not hungry, right? So cravings are really driven by our brain's need for a reward. It's very psychological, right? It's the brain telling you, I need something. It's a brain's signal to say, I need a reward. Your body needs something. But what is more important is for us to realize that cravings are not the same as hunger. And I kind of just said that not too long ago. It really isn't. And if you step back and you look at the times when you've craved something, you'll know that you're really not hungry. I've been there. I have been there. There have been times when I'm like, I go in the refrigerator 10 times and I'm like, well, what am I looking for? I just ate. I'm certainly not hungry, but you just want something. And you have to examine the reason why. If this becomes something chronic that happens throughout the entire day, from the minute you wake up to the time you go to bed, then you have to stop and really figure out what is driving this craving. So if you want to live a healthier life, then understanding your cravings is an essential part of that success. You cannot move ahead unless you understand why. No matter how many diets you go on or how much great foods you eat, unless you understand the source of your cravings, you're not going to be able to be successful in terms of getting rid of the cravings at all. Now, here's something that you're going to think it's a little counterintuitive, right? So cravings are usually seen as something negative, something that we should suppress, something we should fight against as much as possible until we kind of just give in to it. But really, did you know that cravings can actually be positive? It could actually be a good thing, right? What do you think? Do you think it's a good thing? You may be asking yourself, so why are we here? If cravings is such a good thing, why are we here? All right, so I'll tell you why cravings can be a good thing. Cravings could be a good thing because it's your body. Hi, Pam. It's your body signaling to you that I need something. Remember, I talked about the messaging from the brain. The brain is signaling that I need something. So cravings usually is your body telling you I need something. And not just anything. It needs something specific. A lot of times, that something specific is something that we're going to get into just in a little bit here. But there's, again, the underlying reason for that craving. Understanding that underlying reason is critical in terms of taking action. Finding that source is really, really important in determining what's driving that craving. So if you haven't learned anything yet, just learn that if you are having cravings, you must examine the underlying source of that's driving that craving. And it's your body that's signaling that it needs something. And once you have that underlying source identified, then you're able to determine what your body needs. And I'm going to go into a little bit of some of the common underlying reasons why we crave and a few tips and strategies that you can put in place to start curbing, reducing, or even eliminating your cravings altogether. All right. So if you are out there and you are struggling with cravings and it's causing you to gain weight and sometimes you have lack of energy, and you think that this is something that you have to deal with because it's normal and it's part of life, I'll say with confidence, you don't. You don't. And I know that for sure because I was a victim of that at some point. And I have helped a lot of women who had the same issue and they've overcome them. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about one particular person that I am really excited about that I worked with 2018 into 2019. Her name is Deborah. And when Deborah came to me, that was like one of her biggest things, cravings. And it had, she'd gained a lot of weight. she had gained 30 pounds at only 5 foot 5 inches. And her big problem was, I have all this weight gain on me, but I know it's driven by my cravings, she tells me. And as a result, I have no energy. And so what she did for herself to stop her weight gain, or, at least slow it or do something good for herself, Deborah started eating a lot of fat-free, low-calorie foods, 100 calories. We eat all of them. And with all of that, that Deborah was doing, all the low-calorie foods, fat-free, she wasn't losing any weight. And she was still craving. Actually, she was craving even more. And she was dependent on energy drinks to get her through her days. From the time she woke up, it was the coffee, energy drink in the middle of the day, in the evening, and then she got home and she just crashed. And I think she got up one day and she just said, I can't do this anymore. This is just not living. And not to get off topic, but low calorie foods, if anyone who's listening is a fan and actually have low calorie foods in your refrigerator, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You really are. You will see weight loss initially, but that's not a sustainable way of eating. And calorie restriction ends up in a whole lot of other problems because you're really tricking your body and your brain. And fat storage is going to start at some point with that. And I could get into that if anybody is interested in how that whole low calorie restriction works. That can actually end up have you gaining more weight than you expect to, because you expect to lose weight, but it won't. And once Deborah and I started to work together, we first thing we did was replace all the diet foods, where we did a whole pantry cleaning and got rid of all those 100-calorie cookies, snacks, and all the frozen foods. I'm like, I'm sorry, they have to go. And she was very open to doing that, and we just started having her eat just more wholesome foods, things like stir-fried chicken, bok choy, mushroom, brown rice, cooked with coconut oil, oatmeal and berries, walnuts, that sort of thing, cacao nibs, healthy snacks, cacao bowls, just to give a few examples of some of the things that Deborah implemented. And by eating these nutrient-dense food along with supplementation, because that's also important, her cravings and mindless eating disappeared. Deborah lost 13 pounds in 12 weeks, all while eating foods that she loves. And at the end of the program, she gave me this testimonial, and I am going to read it verbatim for you. I replaced diet foods with more delicious nutrient-dense foods, and my cravings and mindless eating disappeared. And I lost 13 pounds in 12 weeks. Thank you, Dion. You are amazing. Thank you, Deborah. You were wonderful. So that's an example of a client story that I have worked with cravings, that she was able to banish those mindless eating and move on to a more healthier life. And she's doing great today, continues to eat well. If you can relate to that story, just type yes in the comment box and let me know whether or not you can relate to that story. All right, so on to I looked for the most common underlying reasons that I see in my practice why people have cravings. So there may be more, and I think there are more. I just wanted to narrow them down to the common ones that I have seen in my practice and that I have personal experience with. So the first one is when your body is lacking key nutrients. So remember earlier I said cravings is usually not a bad thing always, because it's your body signaling that it needs something. And so if you are lacking in certain nutrients, your body is going to tell you, and it's going to start craving foods because it's not getting the right amount of nutrients that your particular body needs. It could be nutrients from minerals or vitamins. And those could come from food. But if your body's not getting exactly what it needs, it's going to have these cravings. So you have to examine, how are you eating? What are you eating? That might be triggering some of these cravings. So, for example, if you are eating a lot of simple sugars, if you are eating fast foods a lot, if you are eating a lot of processed foods, these are things that your body is not, they're not great building blocks for your body, right? It's not dense enough. It's not good nutrition, because remember, we eat for energy. We eat for to fuel our cells. Our cells in turn gives us the energy that we need to do whatever we need to do. So if you're not putting in good fuel to let those cells do the work that they have to do, then you're going to have an alternative situation, which could be cravings. It's like putting bad gas in your car, right? It's not going to run well. Same thing. So your food choice is very, very important when it comes to controlling and curtailing cravings. Number three is, I do see this a lot too, hormonal, and I think most women can relate to that. You know, we always say during your cycle, you have a little sugar cravings. It's okay. During pregnancy, menopause, and what's happening during these hormonal phases is that testosterone and estrogen levels tend to fluctuate. Now, if it becomes more chronic than that, that after these situations occur, if you're not pregnant, you're not on your cycle, and you're still cravings, then we know that something's gone out of control, right? So hormonal issues sometimes drive our cravings, but recognizing that, again, finding that source is what's going to help you to find the proper action in order to reduce or eliminate the craving. So finding the source is critical. And so you might be listening. It might be one of these sources here, as well as it might be something else. But I wanted to give the most common sources that I have seen, which are attributable to a lot of people having cravings. And the next one is emotional. And this is quite popular. You know, you might have a stressful job, an unhappy home life, infighting with family or friends. You might be extremely exhausted all the time for whatever reason. Just bad relationships, not enough love, depression, all types of emotional issues can drive us to have cravings. We know that. When we're sad and we're home on a Friday night or Saturday night alone, we eat a whole quart of our pint. Let's hope nobody eats a quart. A pint of ice cream, or you eat a half of a cake, or you eat 2 burgers and you're not hungry, but you're just eating because you're sad, you're lonely. During this time that is so stressful for so many of us, jobs we're thinking about, times of challenging, uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week. And so a lot of these things cause a lot of stress and angst, which could drive us to eat, to just eat, and, you know, create these types of cravings. So again, I keep going back to recognizing the reason for our cravings is critical to our success, and making sure that we put a plan in place to help us. So now let us talk about what can you do? Because after a while, that's why you're here, right? I have these cravings. What can I do? That is all I want to know. Why I tuned in to Dion today. All right, so I have 5 reasons, 5 of the top reasons. Again, and I chose these reasons because I have used them. I can, you know, people are different. Each person's body is different, but I have personally used them for myself, and I've used them for my clients, and I've seen them work. So I chose to pick out only 5 of the ones that I can testify to. And you can go ahead and try any one of them for yourself, or all of them. That's fine. So the first one, the first tip and strategy that I want to give you in order to start eliminating or reducing cravings is to make sure you are adopting, talked about a little earlier, a whole foods diet. A whole foods diet that consists of good, wholesome foods. Lean chicken, lean protein, chicken, whatever your choice of protein is. Healthy fats, whole grain, lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. And again, I'm not going to be as specific as certain fruits because I know people have different health concerns. Like if you're a diabetic, there's certain fruits that are not good for you. But just in general, things that are whole, not processed. If you can adopt a whole foods diet, that would be great. And one of the wonderful things that I have my clients do when they start adopting a whole foods diet to keep you honest in a way, and just to let you see what you're eating, is to keep a food diary. And I will challenge anyone out there that's listening. A food diary, there's something about writing something down. There's that accountability associated with writing down, this is what I ate, and you go back and you look at it and you want to be accountable to yourself, right? So that's a great way to keep yourself accountable, to make sure to see what you're eating. See what you're eating, see how you feel, and see how it impacts you. So first thing, nutrient dense diet. Whole foods, no fast foods, no processed foods. Those are really going to help to control cravings. And you want to stay away from the artificial sweeteners, right? That's a whole nother topic. But I can tell you, if you're using sweet and low in your coffee or any products that contain artificial sweeteners, you want to stay away from those. And all the refined, the fast foods. I know they're convenient, but believe me, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. You eat them quickly, they're there, but then you look at yourself and you're not always happy with what you see. And it takes a minute to gain weight, and it takes a long time to lose the weight. So we don't want to go there in the first place. Secondly, high quality supplements. I can't stress that enough. And that goes right in line with the diet, right? So if there's certain nutrients that we have to take in supplemental form, like B12, for example, vitamin D, those of us that live in the Northeast, we're not always outside, especially now where we're indoors more. We don't tend to go outside. We don't get sunlight. Recently, we've been having a lot of rain, not a lot of sun. So getting adequate amount of vitamin D in your diet is important. So make sure you're well supplemented. Your vitamin D, your vitamin C, your B12 multivitamins, omegas, magnesium. Those are critical. Iron if you need it. Supplements. So get yourself some high quality supplements. I can assist with that if anybody has any questions in terms of what. I do have some suggestions that I could share. Number 3, essential oils. And I know many of you have heard me talk about essential oils because I love to talk about essential oils. But there are certain essential oils that are great for curbing our cravings. They can be used aromatically, which you can diffuse them or put them in your hand and just inhale them, just get them in your olfactory nerves to your limbic system, and they send the messages to the rest of your body. Or you can use them internally. My favorite essential oils for curbing cravings are peppermint, lemon, grapefruit, and Slim and Sassy. Slim and Sassy is a blend with a bunch of different oils. Now, some of you, if you have high blood pressure, you might not want to use a grapefruit oil to ingest for internal, but you certainly can diffuse it because you're just inhaling that. Or for safety, I always say if you have high blood pressure and you're on meds, not to use grapefruit essential oils. But peppermint, lemon, a Slim and Sassy blend are great for helping to curb appetite control, and cravings. So those are great, and they could be used topically too. And I do have a couple of recipes for diffusing blend and water infusion and a roller blend that I'm going to throw in with these notes as well. Number 4, detoxing or cleansing. And what that is resetting the whole body, it's removing toxins from the body and resetting it. And by resetting your body, you do get rid of cravings for the most part, as long, because that's where you're eating whole foods. And the detoxing that I am referring to, I know there are lots of detoxing out there. I do offer some in my practice. The ones that I offer are whole foods detoxes that consist of whole foods, just nothing processed, just whole clean foods. And those can really help to eliminate toxin, balance your hormones, and just reset your body in general and end cravings. And the last thing that I wanted to cover is mostly for emotional support, is to engage in activities that are going to help to keep you emotionally balanced. For example, yoga, meditation, walking, just having good, wholesome friendships with people and just being with them. Those are great things. Anything that's going to help to keep you emotionally well are always good to help to address some of those underlying needs. Again, essential oils is also another big one in emotional states, calming the brain, calming the body, and really helping to bring about homeostasis when things are kind of out of line. So those are my tips. So I'm just going to quickly recap, as I'm going a little bit longer than I planned to. Let me recap here. So we talked about cravings a little bit in terms of it's not unusual to crave. Every now and then we might have some kind of craving for sweet and salty foods, which isn't always bad unless the cravings become an everyday thing where you're always craving from sun up to sundown every day of the week. Then it starts to impact your health and your well-being. And craving sometimes can be a good thing because it's your body that's signaling you that it really needs something. We talked about some of the common underlying reasons for cravings, like your body might be lacking in certain key nutrients, you might be eating very poor quality food, could be hormonal and also emotionally driven. And what you can do about it is incorporate your nutrient-dense foods and eliminate the processed foods. You can incorporate use of certain essential oils, doing a detox, and engaging in activities that's going to help to keep you emotionally balanced. So that's what I have for you today. And so for being here with me today, I am going to throw in my free ebook, a link to my free ebook, which is 3 proven ways to naturally alleviate perimenopause and menopausal symptoms without feeling overwhelmed. I am going to throw the link in the notes. And one more thing that I'm also offering you, if this message resonated with you, if you are struggling with cravings, if you just want to chat for a little bit, I am offering a free 30-minute consult with me, just to chat. Let's just brainstorm and see if there's any way that I could be of assistance to you or provide any resources to you. I'd be more than happy to do that. I am going to put that link for that free 30-minute consult in the chat box as well. And spots fill up quickly, so if you're really interested in just chatting or if you're just curious, go ahead and book some time on my calendar. And if it's not you and you do know someone that is struggling with cravings, lack of energy, or weight gain, please feel free to share this message with them or tag them in the comments below. All right. So until next week, this is Dion signing out for Dee's Wellness Wednesday. I hope you got something from this session, and please feel free to message me, either leave a comment in the box or message me. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer questions on anything that I might have talked about or something that I didn't talk about. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week for another session of Dee's Wellness Wednesday. Have a good night, everybody.